October 1st. I think okay. Yeah, I'm looking right now. I mean, like.
Oh, yeah.
Looking right across. Yes.
Maybe to that. Did she get off?
I kicked her off.
Oh.
I kept trying to talk to her and she kept muting me, so I just kicked her off.
Yeah, I'll
Get
put
mad
something in
later,
the
I
communicator, like. It's not available to you. Deal with that.
I don't know what he's running through, but.
Troubles? Not anymore. I kicked her off, so there's no trouble anymore. Huh? Some lady was using, Maddie Carr was using our site, not a member, using our Zoom. And so I went on there, and tried to talk to her. I unmuted myself, I joined the meeting, I muted myself, so I talked to her. She kept going and muting me. I just kicked her off. I had well, she was doing yoga. She had like 10 people on here doing yoga. Is she a member of the? No. And are listening. And if she isn't, and she's doing yoga, she's or is she doing it, or is she doing it under Sunflower Yoga? I don't think she's not the one who does Sunflower Yoga. No. Her Leslie don't get one. Okay, so she's doing her own yoga. She's doing her own. She's got our password, or she did. I don't know, it's gonna change after today.
I couldn't get to ask her, I believe Mark, Mike, or Jim.
Yeah, he can probably hold the mic. Or we can, well, let me ask you, see if it's a mic stand. I think I'm gonna do the one, I don't have anything, lights down. But I'm just gonna talk. Microphone. Forward, you want to stay, or you want one to I'm not gonna go back. No. You got the wrong guy there.
Happy New Year. How are you doing?
That's good, yeah. That's why I invited my people.
I thought when she turned 50, that was.
She's handling.
You know, they're building houses.
Oh, she's well done.
Well, here we are. How you doing?
Oh, absolutely.
I know. The weather probably doesn't help.
Pacific Coast Highway. But I called her last night, and she said I can see it.
Okay, good.
I said, "I'd like to hear it."
Your house may not be right.
You don't see it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I read it, you would have one.
Very honest. Sunset Boulevard.
That's our ocean, the ocean. I had ocean, the ocean. At least.
Oh,
Oh, that was nice. I enjoyed it.
I lived on the water. Here's the water. I'm happy.
Good morning.
Yeah, that's right.
Welcome to the Community Sunflower Technology Call. Thank you for coming. This is our monthly member meeting. And before we get started, I'd like to always introduce all the volunteers who make the Tech Club happen. So I'm the president, Kaka Mace. Larry Sher is vice president and all around tech guru for us. And Kim Walter is part of the tech team and past president. Kay Walter is our treasurer. Jerry Ashmore is someone who helps us out all the time with our tech help. How many of you have come and got tech help on one of our tech help sessions for a laptop or a tablet or a phone? So that's an important service that we have, that we offer. I do like to make it real clear that we do not make house calls. All too often I get calls, can you come to my house and fix this? First of all, I may be the president, but that doesn't mean I know that much about technology. All of the technology, so I refer them to someone else, but we do not make house calls. But at our tech help session, besides helping you with things that you might bring in, if you want to know how to use the computer lab, how to do something, how to print something, how to do something like that, you can also come during the help session and get help with that. So before we begin, are any questions or comments, anything you'd like to know more about? Okay, well, that's great. So with our tech talks, we try to find interesting speakers, and from inside Sunflower and outside, and we're always looking for speakers. If there's a topic that you know something about, we would love to have one of our speakers, because what you share, your expertise, may be something that is just what someone needs to know. Now today, I should say, our speaker is Jim Smith, and he is a resident here in Sunflower. I met him at the Arts and Crafts Fair because he makes these amazing designs and products with his 3D printer. And so with that, Jim Smith, I'd like to invite you up.
There's a few here.
He's asking if you could come up maybe closer. If you wouldn't mind, if you're sitting in the back, if you could fill up these more front tables. He would like that, please. Thank you.
Set up anybody with a. Set up for 500 bucks. That's all you say. That's the printer. Supplies tools.
You're fine.
Sorry.
Obviously, this is my second machine. I follow the Tim Evelyn principle of bigger, better, you know, I have a bunch of machines, I had it for a year. And this one is bigger and better. Who knows what I'll have a year from now? It'll probably be maybe even completely different, I don't know. But what you see is in process is one of these. Just a little baby bird. It's a working ocarina. It takes about an hour and a half to print one of those. That's in what's called a silk white filament. The filament is this thing going into the head. If you look at the machine, you think, man, it's really a technical marvel. They can melt this and get it going. That's really part of it. But the bigger part is the placement of the platen or the bed. Because this part really, it goes back and forth and up, but that's it. It's the placement of the bed, the nozzle pretty much stays right where it is in the head there. It's the filament comes in various colors. That's what that's for. That is just a sample of the colors that are available. What you really need to get going, you need a 3D printer. You need a supply of filament. The filament sells for anywhere from $15 to $25 a reel. It contains 1 kilogram of filament. But the entire 3D program is always in measure. You will never see any English measurements in the program at all. This is 1 kilogram. It amounts to about 2.2 pounds of filament. And with that, I could probably make possibly 10 of these. This one is about a 10-hour print. It contains, let me be a little more accurate here. Takes about 330 feet or 330 meters of filament.
Yeah.
So each
I've seen him make you too.
spool that you get, you can print maybe 10 of those things. The most difficult part of the program from start to finish was changing filaments. It's I speak from experience on this because I've screwed it up many times. This basically is my third printer head because I screwed up changing filaments. What you have to do is you have to first heat up the print head to the point where you can push the filament that's in there down. Then you immediately pull it all up. And at the same time, you try to put the new filament in so that it takes advantage of that heat. You push it down and it sounds simple in its principle. It is simple if you do it right. There's the key is doing it right. The machine is not very heavy, maybe 25 pounds. One of the keys is keeping the bed level. this, table probably is not going to, this piece is probably not going to come out very good because the table is not completely level. And when I say it's completely level, you know how big a millimeter is, right? The level of that this machine can work with is approximately 1/100th of a millimeter. Now, the older machines had about 9 screws on the bottom that you adjusted to get the button level. The new ones do it automatically. Thank goodness. Because that was a real chore. You download the program from the internet. The site I use mostly is called Thingiverse. It's everything you see here, you download came from Thingiverse. You download it into your computer, transfer it from your computer to a flash drive, insert the flash drive in the machine, and it'll come up here, and you can print it. Now, if you're truly into something like this, you can print your own programs and make your own projects. I'm not capable of anywhere close to that, and I don't intend to be in the future. Because there's just an infinite number of things you can download. There are maybe 10 different sites that give you free access to the programs. And there are another 25 sites that will either charge you for the program that you're using, or they will custom make a program for you that you can then plug into the computer. These guys are clever with a computer. They can probably do in 2 hours what will take you a year. I'm just not going to get into that part of it at all. The alcohol is there. The bed has to be completely cleaned after every print. If you don't get it clean, the next project that you make probably is not going to stick very well to the bed. And once that comes up off the bed, the whole thing is all over. As it will wobble and just go completely off the face. But it's not hard. You fill alcohol. There are some scrapers that you use on. And some of this stuff is specific to 3D, but it's not expensive. A dozen of those scrapers, probably $7, something like that. None of this stuff really is expensive. One particular tool, everything in the world comes with a little angle, hex wrench. You try to use those on this and your total frustration. For I think $8, I was able to get 6 long ones with a nice handle. Really, and of course it's in metric, so it's in the measurement of the hex head is 2 millimeters, 2.5 millimeters, 3 millimeters. It's all in millimeters, so the tools have to be all in millimeters. And once you start using this metric system on here, you don't convert back and forth to the English. You just automatically you start thinking in metric, and you're working in metric in your head within a week. It doesn't take long. It's quite an easy thing. This modern marvel is a kitchen scale. It measures in grams or in ounces. The reason you need that is because the spools do not come equipped with a meter that shows you how much has been taken off. So what you have to do is you weigh the spool, then you subtract the weight of the actual metal reel that it's on, then that gives you how much you've got left on the reel. You subtract maybe 2 meters just because of the people be going around there into the machine, and that gives you how much. Now, when you download the item from the net, it will give you in grams or in meters how much it takes to print that particular item. So if you get an item that takes 180 grams, if you've got 180 grams left on your reel, you're ready to go. The last thing you want is to run out of filament and have the tail end of the filament in because there's just no way to get it out. Once you've seen the head disappear into this heated head, that you ruined it. There's just no way of getting it up if you've got nothing to push it. The temperatures are not totally extreme. And again, the temperatures are in Celsius. They're not in filament at all, in Fahrenheit. The heating element goes up to maybe 200, 250 degrees centigrade. Think 450 degrees in your oven. And that's really all it is. It's not an extreme. The nozzle coming down, it is very hot. It will sting your fingers if you mess around and put them where they shouldn't be. I speak from experience on this. It has happened. Changing the nozzle is much easier than changing the filament. You just unscrew it and put a new one in. Pretty much that's all it takes. The nozzles itself, you will replace them every month or so. They're inexpensive, couple bucks a piece, unless you want to get into printing with metals. And you can do that, not with this machine, but with a metal printing machine, you can do that. The nozzle is a little bit different. The material is a actual ruby. It sells for about $2,700. I don't get it. Other than that, I can tell you record keeping. I keep track of the filaments that I use. I try to keep track of each spool so that I can get some kind of idea which ones work and which didn't. I keep track of the items that I printed. I keep track of the machine itself. I have a regular 3D printing, and I use the Reddit site. The Reddit has a special subsite for 3D printing. It's pretty good. I have downloaded a couple items from there. I prefer Thingiverse, but Reddit is there and it works just fine. Other than that, hey folks, this is really a simple thing to do. You need a good solid table. Mine cost me $119 or so. It's 2x4 and it's plenty big for the program. That's all you need in your dining room. I know your wives are going to complain about it, but 2x4, that's not big. A 2x4 site, maybe in the living room, who knows? It could go anywhere, but keep it out of the garage. Dust is a real problem. Or they were getting the machine that could ruin you pretty quickly. For the 2x4 table, it's really all you need. I have a little nook. This is basically a young man's profession. Anything you read or most things you see on Reddit, the conversation sites, these are all young men, anywhere from 12 to 30 or 40. I've told them my age and they all laugh at me, but other than that, it's kind of interesting to get the way these young people think about some things. Living here, which a lot of us, including me, don't associate with any young people at all. I heard the word giraffe legs, I believe it is. Anybody know what giraffe legs are? Giraffe legs? Nah. Anyway, that basically is my program.
How did you get interested in reading?
I have no idea. I just looked at it, I heard about it. I was pretty much stuck in the house, because I was stuck in the house. And I was looking for something to take up time, and boy, this did the trick. I spend, well, until last year, I was spending maybe 8 hours a week on it. I'd go and mess around with it for a couple hours. And, if there was absolutely nothing going on, a little more time, but you can spend as much or as little as you want. No requirement at all.
So you've downloaded files complete and then put them on a thumb drive.
Yeah. Mhm.
Have you ever gotten it and changed the design?
No, I
What
don't
the items
think,
were?
I don't do that. It can be done. But I can expand it or make it a little smaller. I certainly can change the color by using a different filament, but that's about as far as my expertise goes.
So with only one element feeding it, then you don't have any support structure elements, so you're limited in bridging angles. Maybe talk about that.
Following the Tim Allen photo, there are machines, and I want one. You can feed as many as 8 different filaments into the machine at the same time. The program will automatically pick the one that it's supposed to be using. You have to bring that up. Yeah.
I'm impressed with how far some of these have bridged without the bridging material.
How far?
Like that little tugboat, if you've got a good 1/4 inch or so in the window where it had a free space.
Oh, then, yeah, they could do that. And, what you're referring to, this is a Benchy. It's called a Benchy because it is a bench test. If you can print a Benchy and have it come out looking pretty good, then your printer is probably working pretty good. Like he said, there are some points where they have to traverse an open space. You look at the width of the exterior walls, the front walls, how shiny and smooth it is on the back side. If you can print a really nice Benchy, your machine's working pretty good. Yeah.
Jim, I think you said that you are open to teaching this to people who want to have it as a hobby or working with you somehow, is that correct?
Teach is maybe an overstatement.
Well,
I would,
collaborate.
anybody that would like to come over to my house and take a look at more of this stuff and how it's done and sit down and actually do it, I'd be more than happy to have you come. I live way in the far corner of Sunflower. But yeah, I would dearly love, one of the reasons that I volunteered to do this, I would love to have about 3 other people in Sunflower take up the hobby so that I had someone to talk to. I got no one to talk to as far as this hobby goes. And I would really love to have 3 or 4 other people get a little club going and go from house to house and just do it upright. There would be then, as a hobby and just a nice thing to do. Any other questions? Yes.
The cost of equipment. Supplies.
The machine you see there was $200. It looks like should be more expensive, doesn't it? But it isn't. $200. It shipped directly to me from China, where almost all of this stuff is made. The filament runs between $15 and $25 a spool. And there are accessories. You really do need a scale. You need a bottle of alcohol to clean the bed. This bed, by the way, comes off and is replaceable if you mess it up totally. $30 you can replace one of those. Some of the tools that you need, maybe $25 to $40 worth of tools that would be nice to have. Other than that, it's really an inexpensive hobby.
I was gonna ask, what do you do with all the objects you get?
That is a problem. I went to the craft fair and sold a lot of stuff. There was one little girl that came through. She must have been about 3 or 4 years old. She got dimples. Well, her mother went to talk to somebody, and I gave her one of the Ocarina birds. And I got a call later in the day from mother. She says, I want to thank you. She played that ocarina all the way home. So, that's one of the things I want to get into, doing something different, because I took some market for this stuff, it's, any woman comes into my house, generally leaves with 1 or 2. And my most popular item is this. It's called, okay guys, any of the men know what this is? Any of the women?
Please.
A bud vase, yes. A single bud vase. I produce that one a lot. I give it away a lot, and they all seem appreciative. But that's one of the reasons I need the bigger, better machine so I can produce different items. Because it's a very small market, and I think I've flooded it.
Is there like a kit that you can order, like building a model car, something like that, with movable parts, something like that?
The machine?
Yeah.
We need a series of multiple parts to build an assembly.
Well, some of you do have to assemble these when you order it in the machine. It doesn't come fully assembled. Yeah, it takes half an hour.
Straight across.
Or there are other
Which is
machines
easier to build.
that you can save $50 on.
That bridge.
It may come in 50 pieces. And
You can do all of those
the
different.
latest the only thing I've heard was that it took someone 8 hours to assemble it.
It's hot.
It depends on how good you are at that kind of thing and how good they are at assembling it. Yes, yeah.
Maybe that's where you print multiple parts and then the parts
Oh, yes.
assemble into something bigger.
Yes, no, that kind of stuff is available. I have not done it yet.
different filming.
I don't know this. I've only been doing this,
Means that
for
every time. My nephew. he does that.
14, 15 months, something like that.
Yes.
So, Jim, I've read like, there's a place where they're building homes with.
Not with this Yes.
Parts.
The 3D printing, two items she mentioned, they're building houses with it. The machine goes around just like this one, it has a nozzle that comes out about, this big. And it comes out, the concrete comes out, it's a complete concrete house, completely built with a 3D, machine. They are building them down south. I am down south, I'm from Wisconsin, I keep thinking down south. They are doing it, but secondly, they've been printing, replacement bones for some time. And inserting them in people that have a problem that their own bone just was not acceptable anymore. The latest I've heard now is that they're beginning to be successful in printing kidneys and livers, which boggles the mind. I can't imagine that's what they're doing. Yes.
How do you actually read the product?
From here to here,
No, read it. Once it's done, it's gonna be stuck to your plate.
to the plate, yes.
How do you read it?
Oh, okay, good question. The plate. You can see on the front here, it's really thin, the whole plate comes off. And at that time, it becomes just a small piece of metal, you stick it on your knee and go like this, turn it around, go like that, and pops right off. Generally, unless you've done something terribly wrong, I speak from experience, it comes right off. And if it really messes it up, you can buy a new one for $30. But you shouldn't have to, because if you keep it clean and don't mess around too much, you shouldn't need a replacement.
You mentioned multiple towers
Mhm.
on the same project.
Yeah.
Where do they sit? Are they all on this reel?
There are 8 reels, yes. They're all fed into the machine, all at the same time, and the machine knows when to use which one, yeah. I haven't done that yet, don't know if I'm going to, I may go in a completely different direction, I don't know what's gonna happen yet. But there's just a ton of stuff you can do out there. You do live in a dry area, if you live in Wisconsin, one of your problems is moisture. If the filament gets too moist, it will cause a problem, just not work at all. So you have a dryer, which fits a reel, you stick it in the dryer and leave it there for 6 hours, comes out, or you get a 6-slot dryer with room for 6 reels, and it feeds directly from that dryer into the machine. There's a lot of ways to spend your money on that. There really is, yeah. But would I do it again if I was to start all over? You betcha I would. Because I've had a lot of fun. There's been a little frustration, admittedly, but the fun far outweighs the frustration. I'll do it again in the morning.
We have picked up, articulated dinosaur.
You speak louder, please?
We picked up an articulated dinosaur for one of the grandkids. And it was kind of fun because it was Stegosaurus, so it had the plates on the back to do all that. And I would expect that this would probably be able to do that.
Movable parts, or movable models with a snake that goes like this and it's all built in. Yeah, those are available. I have not printed one yet. I know of their existence. I've been a little hesitant, as if there's a way to screw it up, I'll do it. But, I am gonna try it, yeah. There's especially a lot, well, guns and, models of women. Yeah, that stuff is prevalent on the web. But yeah, there's just about anything that you want, you can find somewhere on the web. It kind of boggles my mind that you can get something where the parts are interior and they're still workable and movable. And I am going to try one just for the heck of it and see what happens, but again, I've only been doing this for about 15 months. I'm still a rookie.
So what are you bringing down right now?
Right now, I am printing the Ocarina Bird. There's one out there somewhere. Yeah, okay, yeah. I picked that because it doesn't take long. Some of these models, I had at the craft show, I had hands, a single hand from here up. And surprisingly enough, I took a special orders for sets of hands, 2 of them for a set of hands. Now that I kind of expected, but I did not expect that both customers would want those hands to be pink. Now, do you want to take a long shot guess on the sex of the customers? Hmm? Yeah. Yes, both hands. And that one just totally surprised me. It was a kind of a pink and gold filament I had at the time. So one of them wanted pink and gold, the other one just solid pink. Why, I don't know. It makes no difference to me. I'll print anything. Anyone? Yes.
Is there a difference in the bevel strength of the individual colors?
My knowledge, no. But these things are not fragile. They've held up beautifully. No hole. You see any cracks or anything on
Oh,
there? It could have been, yeah. From the looks of it, you would think that they would break, but no, it's really pretty tough stuff.
Do you have a file on them a little bit?
Yes,
You're gonna start spending a lot of time at craft fair.
this is a, cordless sanding. And you use that to, almost all of the models do require a touch-up of some kind. Yeah, anywhere from 5 minutes, some of them can take maybe 10 or 15 minutes. Some of them, you look at it and say, yeah. Throw it away. They come with springs. If there's a lot of springs on them, usually there's no hope for them. Stringing is a problem. There are more problems than you can shake a stick at. If you have your, let's see. This is the X dimension, this is Y, and Z is the distance between the nozzle and the plate. Now, X and Y, they're not very important. Z, if you get that wrong, your model is not going to work. You go back and try it again with a different Z until you get it working right and continue on. This is where record keeping comes in. You want to keep track of what worked and what didn't. There it is.
So I would imagine the printer is heating that filament,
Yes,
and then the warmth of that filament, when it goes on to the next piece, hardens. You know, it hardens. What happens if you have a bigger piece? So I would think that, it would be cool by the time the next time it comes around. And then the other question that I want to ask about that is, once the project is done, does it need to set a little bit on the plate before you remove it?
okay, as far as the filament coming out of the nozzle and going on top of another layer, that generally is no problem. It, once it comes out, the filament, the piece that comes out of the nozzle is not as thick as this filament. That little white piece on the bottom is what comes out of the nozzle. So it just doesn't take long at all for that to solidify. And what was the second question?
Do you have to let it set? Like when you take cookies out of the oven, you have to let them set?
I do let it set for maybe half an hour or so, yeah,
But I think she was implying that the bonding of one layer to
yeah.
the cold layer, there's enough heat in the new
I think
material
so,
coming
yeah.
down that bonds to the cold.
Yeah,
the heat
yeah.
of the
It doesn't have to have any residual heat in the piece that's on the bottom, you know. Now, that little envelope that you're passing around, in addition to the piece on the bottom, there is a fine filament. If you hold it up to the light, you can see it. It's really, really fine. You gotta hold it up to see it. It's not a usable filament, but it does show up once in a while.
That one of the pieces will be cut off.
No, it came out of the nozzle, when I was running a test in preparation for, changing, colors, changing filaments. Anything else? Yeah.
Another resource I was gonna share was downtown Zero Craft. Have you ever heard of that?
Yeah, yeah. I haven't gone down there yet, but I might.
It's, what you can imagine is like all the floor space in the community center here. Yes, the room, craft room, gym, and everything. That's about the amount of floor space they have on a couple levels and out back, but it's $60 a month and you can do 3D printing. I'll just go through the list: CNC, machine shop, crafts shop, electronics department, jewelry infused glass studio, laser cutter / engraver, machine shop, welding shop, wood shop, and then the one out back is the blacksmith shop. So if you want to, whatever you might want to get involved with, they include the 3D printing and so much more stuff, and they have people that work there that maintain all the equipment, they can help you some, but like you've done, it takes, your own research and investigation and mistakes and materials and.
I would feel like a real schmuck going down there though, but.
What is the name of the place again?
Zero Craft, XERO, and then craft, all one word. It sounded like 9th Avenue or something, close to downtown.
You mentioned CNC,
Yeah.
this
I did.
is an offshoot of CNC.
Yeah, it's for the opposite
Sure,
of that.
yeah.
I worked a wood project with a guy I used to work with, he was a member and I went down and got to, sit side by side with him and he coached me through it. Essentially, it took, it's CNC controlled like X and Y like this and that. But you could put a router cutter on it and cut it into the wood. Or, so I did that with light wood and then a dark wood piece. The computer program can make a negative volume image of it. So it cuts away just the opposite. So then when you marry them together, they all fit together, you glue them together, and then so you get this dark wood inset into the light wood. It turned out really nice, so. But they have just an amazing array of
I'd like to get down.
equipment down there.
Okay, anything else? Okay. And you want to take me up on, going over and taking a look and see how and be more than happy to. Okay,
Thank
now
you.
it's all yours.
One other thing, one time had issues getting the government to run just a little step. And one of the guys who worked had one of these. And he went into his 3D modeling. And made the Travis Oil step. And, yeah, I'm sure it wasn't anything machine in this, that not be made it.
I don't know that a bit. Something up.
Got it.
No, I've got to figure out getting off of that.
Thank you, Jim. And this is exactly what we need. We need to bring our expertise. This is, we love hearing all this, so please let us know, any one of us, if you would like to be a speaker and share something. We would love to hear.
Actually, wasn't it about 3 or 4 years ago, we abandoned a 3D printer that Technical had?
That was donated to a school because no one was using it, and we didn't have the materials.
I think you can see why. To have a communal supply and tools and everything else is good now.
Too many fingers in the pie.
You selling these, are you?
What?
Are you selling?
Sale?
Which one you want?
How much are they, Jim?
What?
How much would you like?
Oh, they're way too expensive. You'd have to, say you want one and I will determine the price. Way too expensive.
Anyone their bank account.
You might want any of this stuff up here if you want to. I'll show you how to bring that thing off.
It's really good, doesn't it? Right.
Let's see if we're done.
Remember?
Thank you.
All the pictures online.
Let's go down. Let's go down. Okay, thank you. Sometimes if you take this one, every woman in the world looks at that and says, that's mine.